Greetings, my name is Ali Surur. I am a certified resin instructor. Today I'm going to take you through a quick journey on how we're going to change our pieces that we have at home like this to something beautiful like the ones we have. I can show you later. All we need is resin, we need a scale, we need to wear gloves as we're going to work with chemicals, so we always have to use protective gloves. If you're working at home, you can put a tablecloth or plastic sheet or something that you don't miss out the place. I'm gonna use a few colors of basic colors, and I'm gonna use some metallic colors. What you need is the scale, the resin, and the hardener. So I'll start directly with the scale. I'll be working on these pieces, so what I'll do, I'll start measuring my quantity. So you have to be very precise on the quantities that you're gonna use, because if you add more resin than the required quantity and the hardener is less, then your resin will not dry. And if you have added more hardener than the resin quantity, it will dry out so fast that you will not be able to work with, and you're gonna lose your quantity and everything else. Quick advice: if you ever you're gonna mix, work in two different cups. So what you do is you bring another cup, you add the hardener. Now I added 110 of resin. I need 70 grams of hardener. Actually it's 66 actually, so I'll go 66. So with this product we're gonna use today, as for every 10 gram of hardener we need 6 gram of for every 10 gram of resin we need 6 gram of hardener. So I got my measures right now. I have 110 in this cup of resin, and we have 66 in this cup. So what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna put them all together and we start mixing them for 3 to 4 minutes until we see that the liquid in the cup is looking crystal clear. This means that we have mixed our product properly and we can start working with. It doesn't have smell, so people are worried when they hear resin, they hear epoxy. By the way, epoxy resin, it's all the same product. It's just their specifications differ from a company to another, as some of them are for industrial use, some of them are for art use. What we are using today is for art use. It doesn't have a smell, it's a zero VOC product. It's approved by the Food and Drugs Association as a food safe product after it cures fully, which means it's 72 hours. Anyways, so we need to mix for 3 to 4 minutes. Then the working time we have, depending on the room temperature that you're gonna work in, it's between 45 minutes to 1 hour depending on the room temperature. So after you mix for 3 to 4 minutes, you add the colors. Then remember, you have 45 minutes to 1 hour to work before the resin starts to dry. It will take 24 hours to dry, 72 hours to fully cure, and it will be like something as hard as these pieces here. And you can just wipe them off later on, and you can just put food or something and you can use them. You can use them for jewelry, you can use them for food, you can use them as decorative pieces. So once we mix, we make sure that our mix is clear. Both the chemicals are mixed together. We divide depending on the colors that we're gonna use. We're gonna divide this into different cups. So I'll go a bit in this cup, a bit in this cup, and you're gonna go a bit more in this cup. I always keep spare in this main cup. If I need it, I can always go back to it. So for the colors, I'm gonna use a basic white color. Just have to mix it well, and then we just add it, bit of it to the resin. These are actually resin colors, so don't have to think a lot of not getting mixed or something. You just have to mix it properly. These are already concentrated resin colors that we have them. There are so many different kind of colors. We have the basic colors, which is this. We have the metallic colors, which comes like this, and there are the alcohol inks. There's powder pigments, which I don't use. So we have the white mix color ready. Gonna do something different. I will use white and gold. So what we're gonna do is now we're gonna mix our gold. First you mix it in the bottle. Just make sure, because it has a weight, because it's a metallic color, so it goes down, stays at the bottom of the bottle. So once we mix it, just take a bit and just add it to our resin. One important thing people usually don't know or don't do it unless they go and start pouring. You always can check how your color is going to turn once you drop it somewhere. So you take a clean stick, you dip it, and then you keep it this way. You can check here. If you see that the color is, you can see the surface of the stick, this means that your color is light. But if you cannot see the surface, it means that your color is good enough. So now I'll mix the golden color that I poured. This mixing is very important, because if you don't mix the colors properly, they will not dry. So your resin will get dry, but the colors will not dry. As I said, because they are mixed already with resin, so we have to mix them properly. Otherwise they are non-drying colors, so they will not dry unless if they get mixed with the resin. So what I'll do now, let's say we have this piece. Gonna use just 2 colors on this small piece. What we need is we just gonna add the white. The beautiful thing of resin that it's self-leveling, so I don't have to do much as long as the surface is clear, is in a straight place. Just have to add it this way. It will start spreading by itself. Something very nice, very interesting, and very addicting. So once you start doing this, you will not stop, believe me. Now as you see, I'll just move it around to just spread the resin, take it to the corners, and then it's gonna level itself. Now we have the white all over the place. This piece is not going to the edge, so what I'll do, I'll just take a stick. You can take a stick, you can always do this. You can use your hands if you're wearing gloves to just spread the color or the resin on the surface. طبعا resin does not get stuck to plastic, to wood which is covered with melamine. Very soft surfaces, very smooth surfaces, resin will not get stuck to. Doesn't get stuck to plastic. So if you put resin on plastic, once it dries, it will get removed. So what I'll do in this piece, I'll just add a bit of gold to just make it, to just break the white, and I'll just add a bit of gold. So I'll take a bit of gold, I'll just add it this way. You can add it in any way. It's your art, it's your work, so whatever you're gonna do, it's up to you. Now as we see, this piece is almost ready. I just have to let it be for 5 minutes, then I'll do a torch. Why we need the torch? Because once we mix the epoxy with the resin with the hardener and in the cup, and then we add the colors, the bubbles start coming up. So what we need to do is we take a torch, we just torch up the surface, not to burn the resin, but just to remove the bubbles off the surface. So we have this piece ready, we'll come back to it and we will just do the torch. We can do another piece of this kind of coasters. These are cork coasters. They are very friendly, they are very nice, very light, and you can just make them look beautiful in few seconds only. So I have a bit of leftover of white here. I'll just add it here. Then I'll add a bit of the gold around it. See, colors, as you can go crazy, it's up to you, it's your artwork, so you can just go crazy. So I just went the gold. Now as we see, gold is mixed here. Can give it a marble look effect. I can use the alcohol, or I can just spin the piece like this, or I can use a stick to give it a spin. I can use a stick in this way to pull the color outward, or to pull the color inward. It's up to me. As I said, this is a technique. You can use another one. You can just do this way, and it will start swirling, and will have this kind of shape, which looks very beautiful. Actually I prefer this rather than using this stick. So let's say we have these two pieces ready. I have this piece. You always have to come down to just make sure that your lighter is on. You don't need to burn the resin, you just have to clean the surface. So you just go this way. I usually go from the corners. Okay. I'm gonna use a little bit of alcohol here, because what happened, the gold I've used is a bit heavier than the white, so it went down. So I'll just use the alcohol on the gold to bring it out, or I can add more of the gold on top like this. But make sure you don't want to put a lot of liquid in your pieces, so you don't want the liquid to be floaty up. So you just need to cover the surface to just make it look beautiful. It's not the purpose of filling it up with resin. So we have these two pieces ready now. I just need to, this is, as I said, it's a cork, so you have to be very careful. You go from the sides to the middle, and we are done. So what we'll do now, do another color, maybe on this big piece. Have a bit of resin here, have a bit of resin here. Can use one color. As I said, with colors, you have a lot of variety of colors, so it depends on your mood which color you can use. It's up to you. Be using this beautiful green. Just mix it. Many people try to use acrylic colors. Some of them work. Some acrylic colors, if they have a consistency of some acrylic, if they contain a lot of water, they cannot be used with resin, because the water is the enemy of resin. That's why I always recommend my students in all classes that they should always use resin colors, or if they're gonna use acrylics, they should make sure that it doesn't contain water. So I just mixed here a bit of this beautiful green, which I can use it on to make more coasters, or we can make this piece. You can start with the middle. You can start here. Let's see here. And we can do a bit here. We have two options. You can either move the piece like this. Okay, I dropped a bit of resin here. It's fine, you can always just wipe it off. Oh, my hands got dirty. Have some tissues here. It's fine. Now I've added only 3 pieces here and the middle one. You can continue to add more resin and continue the other parts, or you can stop and you can do it at different stages. It's up to you. You can work in layers, you can work in one layer. It's absolutely up to you how you will work. Add a little bit more of clear resin here. But the more color we add, the more opaque the piece will be. The lesser color we add, the more it will turn to transparent. I'm gonna add a little bit more here. As I said, you can spread it with a stick. But if you're using a stick on a metallic color, make sure that you either bring the swirls out, or you make sure that you don't use a stick if you don't want the swirls to come out. Swirls usually come out only with metallic colors. So now here on this piece I have a bit of gold. I can use the whole gold in this piece. Okay, it will spread. You can use your finger, as I said. You can use your stick. You can just move the piece. But as long as you are working, you should work on a straight surface. Your surface should be straight, so the resin can level itself. Otherwise, if your surface is not straight, which I mean like it's not straight, like it's tilted in a way, then all your resin will go to one side. So I have this piece ready. I'm not using tissue for cleaning, I'm just using my hand. It's just fine. Now I can just take off my gloves because they are a bit dirty. I'll just take them off. I have this piece ready as well, so all I have to do is just start with the lighter from the sides, clean the surface, go to the next one. Be careful when you're using the torch to remove the bubbles, because you don't want to burn the colors. That's the first thing. And the second thing, the resin has a flash point. Flash point is where the resin starts to flame once you use a lighter. So the flash point for this product I'm using is 150 degrees, and this lighters can go really high. So I don't want to burn a piece, I just want to remove the bubbles from the surface and clean it. And we have these 3 pieces ready. You can do them at home. You can renovate your house. If one day they tell me that they need to renovate this table, I'm gonna come. We're just gonna add some resin on this table and we're gonna renovate this table. So we have these 3 pieces got ready in less than maybe half an hour. They will need 24 hours to dry. Then they are ready to use in your house. It needs 72 hours for the full curing. As I said, it's a food safe, so you can just clean it off after 72 hours, and you can use it either for keeping nuts, keeping fruits, keeping keychains, jewelry, whatever. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. Stay home, stay safe.